What's up, everybody? How's it going? I got my new wolf hat on today. My other one was too white. I figured I'd save it till I was an old man. And then my the perfect edition with the owl shirt here. Feeling nature-y. And it's cold outside. It helps in the winter. I've, I was just thinking about music. This is just be kind of a ramble, I guess. A vlog, right? I was just in there playing checkers with my son. He's 7. And we were at the beach, or at a camp, it was a house we were staying at that we rented for a few days up at Hood Canal by the Olympic National Forest. And when we were there, they had this carpet checkers game, so it was like a big rug that had the checkers on it, the checker squares, and then these giant checkers. And he'd never played it before, so we played that, and he said he wanted one. So I was at Goodwill today, and I found an old checkers / Chinese checkers case where there's one on each side, and then you open it up and it's got all the pieces. And I was like, all the pieces are there. It's like 40 years old at least, probably more. It's like one of the original Pressman games, but you find stuff like that at Goodwill. It's just, I love Goodwill. I found a pair of Danner Corvallis boots today. They were brand new. There's no scuffs on them. I mean, they're brand new boots, maybe worn once or twice. And never hiked in, obviously, but they're steel-toed leather Danner boots, and they're usually like $200, and they were like $29.99. I'm like, I just have to have them, Even though I wear size 14 and they were 13s, but boots tend to fit, a little better. I got up this morning and, actually Fish is one of my favorite bands, and my brother and I were just talking about how, because they just released a new album, and I downloaded it, and I was checking it out, and he's like, well, it's no Rift, but you can't expect that after 35 years. Rift is one of their really early albums, and it's phenomenal. And we were laughing about how, people change, and I was saying, hey, we've been listening to them for well over 20 years now. That's just crazy that we've been listening to them, and they were old school when we started. Fish they're great musicians, but I like everything, so, I got up this morning and my son, my 7-year-old, has been listening to this Beck album that I have on the iPad, because it's like one of the only albums I have on there for some reason, and it's Morning Phase. It's a good album. It's a kind of acoustic, mellow, and there's this particular song that got stuck in my head, How to Say Goodbye or something. So anyway, I turned on Beck this morning and I found this video that was called Wow. It was the new Beck video. I thought maybe it was, because I haven't listened to Beck in a while. I still listen to his stuff, but I don't keep up on, I don't watch videos. But I was like, this is a badass video and a badass song. And Beck was, when I was back in 93, I think, somewhere around there, I was listening to that album Mellow Gold by Beck, and the song Loser, which everyone knows, and now it's a classic, but to me it's just yesterday. And such a great tune, that whole album is just great. And Odelay, Beck fans would know. I mean, they're good. It's good music, but I dig everything, and I love having a variety of stuff that I can dig, and not just music. Interests, things to do. I was thinking, I have so many different interests. Like, I'm going to go in a couple weeks with my buddy down to the coast and pick azurescens, which are some of the most potent psychedelic mushrooms in the world. And they only grow here by the coast in Astoria. So we're going to go up there and stay for a few days and go picking. But here's the thing, it's not just for that. Because I have so many different interests that when I go to a place, I can do other things. Like, if you're into clamming, you could go down there and go mushroom picking, clamming. We're also looking for edible mushrooms, and I'm going to take my metal detector with me and go scour and looking for stuff too. It's like, if you have a lot of different hobbies or interests, you can collect a lot of different things along your routes. moss if you use that. I mean, they're endless. I'm just thinking out loud, I guess, of just all the potential. I used to think it would be awesome to be able to walk into the woods and just responsibly, sustainably take a little tiny bit of each type of moss and grasses and mushrooms and be able to make a living off of it, you know, because I love nature and I'd love to be able to make a living off of being part of that collection, you know, out in the woods, wildcrafting. But I guess I'd also love to make a living through music, but hey, what do you do? You know, I guess that's the thing. All the things that I have a variety of interests in, I don't know, it's just good to keep your horizons open, I suppose. Today I'm vaping a banana bomb. It was, I bought a bottle of it at the local vape shop. It's made by PNW, which is, they're probably not nationwide because it's Pacific Northwest vapor, vape fluid, and they only sell it in a few stores, I guess. I've never seen it online, but anyway, it's pretty good. And once again, I'd like to say thank you to my subscribers. A couple of you sent me some vape fluid. It was really good. I just ran out, actually, of the Smurf puke, and I gotta get some more of this other kind of like, there's a few different types, but it's just great because every time I'm vaping while I'm making a video, I'm always thinking about the fact that this unit right here was sent to me by one of my subscribers too. She sent me a couple of mod boxes that, you know, it's just great. It's just cool that people do stuff like that for each other. I'd love to see a future where people just share stuff with each other when they need it, but at the same time, there's just so many assholes out there. It's hard to know who really needs something and who's just taking advantage of the system, you know, trying to abuse others' kindness. The kind of assholes who start like a charity non-profit organization and then pocket all the money and send a small amount out, like a lot do, I'm sure, and then justify it with, oh, well, operating expenses and whatnot, you know. Maybe that's what's pathetic about humans. They think they can donate a few bucks to a cause and then just assume that it's going to get to the right cause. But what if we had, this is a crazy thought, but, you know, what if we had crowdfunding for healthcare? Do you think it would work? It's a total, like, you know, yeah, right type thing. But I started thinking about the whole GoFundMe site. You know, I have never really looked at it, but it's where people go when they need help. Like, I use Patreon for this channel because people have offered to make donations, and I'm like, well, if you want to, you know, that's great. I'm not going to ask for it, though, because I just feel awkward asking for money to sit and talk about stuff. I mean, if I was providing you with solid information on particular subjects, then I might have ads on my channel or something, but I don't want to turn into an ad-based channel, and that's why I went to Patreon. And it's cool because it allows people to pledge $1 or $5 per month or whatever they want. And because some people say, hey, they've been helped by my videos, whatever, it might be a random video, you know, one I didn't even realize might help somebody. It's always the random ones, or the, you know, just offbeat ones that I might not have uploaded. And, you know, those are the kind of comments that keep me going, you know, because if people are helped at all, or if I can gain a little insight from other people, you know, I mean, I'm all ears. I like to be honest with people, and I like people to be honest with me. But anyway, before I lose track of what I was saying, with the whole crowdfunding thing is that people are asking for help for fixing, you know, ailments that they can't afford, things like that. But some people are stupid, you know. They're like, oh, I need a new car, and they already have a car, that kind of stuff. Like, dude, if you're doing okay, you know, you're doing okay. I mean, I don't even have a car. Of course, I could have one if I wanted to, and that's my choice because I haven't wanted to spend the money or go buy one, and they're just a big, you know, life stuff. But I know that I'm to blame for all my own problems. But sometimes you really need help, so you reach out. Now, but imagine if we abolished, like, you know, things like Medicare, Medicaid. Do you really think that people would actually contribute and share their own wealth with our elderly and our impoverished? I don't know. You know, maybe if we saw enough suffering and we realized that the government's not going to bail people out, that we would have to, maybe. But even in, you know, societies where they've had, you know, people have always had the poor and the hungry and the homeless, and it's really hard to, you know, I worked in a homeless shelter for a while, not a homeless shelter, but it was a soup kitchen for a while when I was on community service, and I go down there all the time, and I met a lot of people that were so stubborn they didn't want to go in there and eat, and they were, you know, they'd say they're hungry, but they refused to go to the soup kitchen, and that's when I saw the side of the homeless community to where some people really do choose to be homeless, and that makes it really hard to know who wants to be homeless and whatnot. But for the ones who really don't want to be and really need help, I mean, we need to help those people, and we need to help each other, you know, as best we can. I'd love to see a community and a society where we do that, but, you know, realistically, it's every man for himself is how people feel. It's tough. On top of the shit, you know, the way we feel is one thing. You know, it's like we think that we know something, and so we go out and we try to make a point and tell everybody about it, or maybe we keep it to ourselves and just feel a certain way and stew over it, whatever it might be. But we have opinions that may be based in complete bullshit, and honestly, we need to be fair and honest with each other. Like the thing I said yesterday about emotion. You know, embrace your emotions. Don't, like, deny them. I mean, if you feel a way, then you're feeling a way, and you have the right to express that. If you find that you're unjustified, then later you can adjust your emotion for that. But, you know, I find that people usually get angry when they're wrong about something, and they just don't want to admit that they're wrong. I was debating with, like, one of my best friends yesterday. He was over visiting. He just moved up from the coast. Sirens, of course. And we were talking about basic politics, Clinton, Trump, the whole election thing. And I told him that somehow during the conversation I brought up, you know, the fact about how Russia, you know, when Russia invaded Ukraine, and he said Russia did not invade the Ukraine. And I was like, they didn't? I was like, well, I was under the impression they did. And he proceeded to school me on what he knew. Now, this is my example of how I said something to the effect of, well, you're more knowledgeable on that particular subject, and I'm probably not well, you know, well informed on that particular issue to comment. And then he explained it to me. We both walked away learning something. Whereas a lot of people I have conversations with just want to argue against something over and over. We all find ourselves doing it, especially if it's heated or people are being accusatory or they're being rude, and nobody wants to listen to somebody like that. But with good friends, you can learn a lot. And we went through all these details of politics, and you know, I think that the more we learn about what's really going on in the world, the more it opens our minds to, and I don't want to say to conspiracies and corruption, because yeah, we all know that the world has corruption. I mean, you can't deny it. You can't really ignore it because we're all affected by it. But you can't obsess over it. You can't spend every day waking up, you know, Googling what's wrong with the world and you know, when the shit's going to hit the fan. Because if you spend all your time wondering when the shit's going to hit the fan, then for you the shit's already hit the fan. Splattered all over your face, and you just can't smell it anymore because it's been on there so long. Because ultimately, when we're on our deathbeds, all that mattered is how much time did we spend happy. I've spent years being semi-anxious. It's in my genetics. It's just who I am. I'm a high-strung type person. But I have to be that way. It's almost like you know, it's part of who I am. I've just always been a talkative, upbeat, you know, sometimes overbearing type person. But I've tried to calm myself over the years as far as, like, deep breathing, thinking. I wouldn't say I'm a high-strung person, that's not the right description, but rather I'm just an intense person. And so I use that to my advantage as much as I can. And, you know, it doesn't always serve me the best, but I'm honest about the fact that, you know, I know that I'm just a human doing the best I can, you know, just living this life, doing my thing. And I have to remember that every time we get to a point where I disagree with someone, or shift or something irritates me. You know what I've learned lately? This is crazy, but when I'm coming home from dropping my son off at school, I always think of something irritating on the way home. It's not like, it's just kind of a ritual. It started out with probably just a couple particular parents that I would see that just would park in the middle of the, the way where everybody was walking with their kids, that kind of stuff, where they have to drive an extra 10 feet to drop their kids off because they can't just park on the side of the road like everyone else. And, I feel like sometimes that people are really fucking stupid, and I can't help it. And I realize that I'm stupid to people too. That's fine, I don't care. If people want to think I'm stupid, I don't care, because I know that a lot of people are stupid. And what I mean by this is this generalized term of stupid, in the sense that it doesn't mean they're not intelligent. It means they're just not aware. They're not paying attention. They're doofuses. They're so stuck in their mind and their mental chatter or whatever's going on with them, or totally oblivious that they don't pay attention to shit around them. And these are the people who are fucking with their cell phones at stoplights and ended up holding up traffic for 30 seconds, and everybody's too patient to honk. I'm the guy who's like, get the fuck going. But I'm not angry. That's what I'm getting at. I think of something that bothers me on the way home from dropping off my son at school, like I was saying, and then once I get home, because I think it'll be an interesting subject for a video, but by the time I get home, which is just 30 seconds away, I've already forgotten about it. And I've realized I do this all the time, because something will come up weeks later. It'll be like, oh, I was going to make a video about that, but I haven't thought about it. It's because I don't let myself get bogged down with petty fucking bullshit. Pardon the language, but there's just so many people who are so fucking petty out there. And it's hard not to see that, I heard Bill Maher say something the other day. He said Americans are stupid, and somebody got really upset with him and asked him to clarify, and he said, no, I really believe that Americans are stupid. And I could see how that would be offensive to some people, but it wasn't to me, because I know who he's talking about. I understand where he's coming from and what he means when he says stupid. Now, I'm not a huge Maher fan. He has his own points. I just wanted to use that as an example of, people are honest about how they feel. That there's a lot of people out there that aren't choosing to educate themselves. Now, the folks I'm talking about are the ones that are sitting at home, and instead of learning about the subjects that they're actually voting on or what's really going on in their world, they're watching shit like Dancing with the Stars or The Voice. Now, I realize people like TV. That's fine. That's, that's a choice that a person wants to make if they want to watch mindless television. But people who don't have the right to people who don't watch mindless television, the people who do educate themselves, they do have a right to criticize those who are ignorant, when those who are ignorant are making claims or bold sweeping claims about candidates or issues or things in the world that they don't understand. The kind of people that think that we can build a wall and it'll stop immigration. It'll stop illegal immigrants. This kind of stuff. That's a stupid line of thinking. We've been trying it for a long time. Why is it stupid? It's because if you look back in time and you see all the walls that have been built, you see where the failures lie. And then you look deeper and you start to see critical issues. And maybe I shouldn't use the wall as an example, because maybe it would help. I don't know. But long term, we're talking a lot of money that's probably not going to pay for itself anytime soon. And that's how I feel about a lot of the people out there who want to feel a certain way but don't want to really look into it to see why they feel that way. Because when I find out I'm wrong, I can admit it. That's okay. I'll be honest, I hate both candidates that are running for president. They're just disgusting. And both of the independent and the whatever, this Jill Stein and the other guy, Gary, whatever, they're idiots too. Their plans suck. Nobody looks at the plans. How did we get to this point where we're forced to choose between dumb and dumber? And not just with the election in the U.S. This happens all around the world. People have very bad choices for people to run their country. And then there's kids out there who don't even have a choice for what parents they have or what school teachers they have. For all the parents out there that know, once your kid goes to school and they, you go in and you're hoping they've got a good school teacher and they don't get one of the ones that don't care. you know, and this is just people. It's not a teacher's problem. It's not a government problem. It's a people problem. You know, we're just people. We forget that we're all flawed as individuals. A man can put on a suit and stand in front of a podium, behind a podium, sorry, and stand in front of a camera, and they can pretend they know everything. They can have a completely scripted thought in their mind of how they want to sound, and they can come across that way. But you have to remember that at home, they go home and they have the same shortcomings. They have to take a shower, have to wonder whether they're getting too fat or too old or too much white hair, you know, whether they should shave or not, and whether they're going to die. So, anyway, my point is that we're all human. It's important to remember that, and a lot of humans are flawed, and all humans are flawed, but I mean a lot of humans are flawed by choice because they don't want to become more intelligent, and this is what separates people who want to gain from people who don't. And I've seen when I click onto my YouTube or to my email, I have to go through Comcast, and their homepage shows all their celebrity bullshit news, or whatever they consider to be news, and I can't help but glance at it. I don't click on it, never clickbait, but looking at the headlines, when I see things like Kim Kardashian or a football player or this or that, we're obsessed with celebrities in this country, in the world. I mean, it's we have way too much respect for individuals and not enough respect for collective ideals. And many of us have a collective ideal that we want to see a better future, and it's hard to get that across to the stupid people. But the only reason that they're stupid is because they're not making the choice to be smart about things and educate themselves. And that sounds harsh, I know, because I'm not, you know, if you're offended by that, I apologize. Hopefully I'm not talking about you. I mean, if you're the kind of person who's rational, you have discussions, you don't curse at other people or treat others disrespectfully, and you try to be as kind as you can, then you're probably not the kind of person that I'm talking about. Because it's not about a political affiliation, it's not about who you are, what color or what creed or what religion you are, it's about what kind of a person you are. And this is how I see it. It must be very difficult to find people who are like-minded in this world for men before the internet, for men and women to try to get together with good people. You know, this is how groups like the Freemasons got started. They were looking for a collective group of people that shared their certain values, and of course now they're demonized as these whatever. But you understand the roots of it, and you see why people want to have groups like that, because they want to escape ignorance. But I refuse to join a group to escape ignorance, because as long as I'm living in this world, I'm part of it. Because I'm probably just as ignorant as the next guy. So, peace.